I was born and raised in Little Rock. We played ball in the South, which I think was a big advantage. I came up through, we didn't have Little League at the time. We had what we call Midget League in Little Rock, same classifications and everything. You know, we played that. Got into high school, and I was lucky as I came along. I had super coaches, super people to deal with. A lot of good athletes came along right at that time. We won the state championship, and well, my last year in high school, we won the state championship in football, baseball, basketball, and track. And we were just loaded with talent. A lot of the guys I played football with played pro football. There was 4 of us off that high school team that signed major league contracts. One of them being Brooks Robinson. There was another boy named Ernie Tabor and Tommy Lynch. And they played minor league ball in quite a ways and did quite well. We had a lot of fun. We played a lot of tournaments out of state, you know. And like I said, I had some of the best coaching. We used to. Our coach was friends with Bill Dickey, which was the coach and manager of Little Rock Travelers at the time. So we used to go out and work out with them. The time I ever went out to throw batting practice, Bill Dickey steps up, right? First pitch I hit him. I was jumping and hollering, "Oh, Mr. Dickey, I'm sorry. You know, I didn't mean to do it, you know." It took me about 8 pitches to walk the ball back into it before I got over the plate again. But I really learned a lot. Probably due to the one-arm ball player.
Yeah, Pete Berry.
Yeah, Pete Berry. He played at Fort Memphis. He played at Little Rock. And I got to beat him, talk to him. I was quite young, you know. And that was quite an experience to see a guy with that kind of disability be able to play ball. You know, it was unreal. You know, every time he came to town, boy, they really drew some crowds. One time in my life, we played. Like I said, we played a lot of tournaments. We played invitational tournaments in Oklahoma. And my grandfather had Cherokee, who was raised on a reservation not too far from us. So my hero was Jim Thorpe. One of the tournaments I pitched in one time, Jim Thorpe threw the ball out. I was the starting pitcher, and I got to shake his hand. That was one of the biggest thrills of my life, you know. To be able to see him and talk to him. But Ray Winder owned the ball club in Little Rock. They named the field after him, Ray Winder. He knew him when I was little. And he was the one that actually signed me. But I had scouts from every major league club there was. They plotted me about, I was consistent in 92, 93. Yeah. And they took me out and ran me in the outfield. I came back and I threw a couple 93. I was throwing harder afterwards than when I did. But I always had a good, I completed a lot of games. Even in professional ball, I completed a lot of ball games. It was quite an experience getting into professional ball. I couldn't believe, I'm sure Lefty and Bob will tell you that couldn't believe that they were paying you to play ball. Right? You remember Valentine that was a American League umpire? He came over. Yeah, he came from Little Rock, and he umpired American Legion games when I was in high school. Well, I'm down in spring training, and I'm pitching there, and he'd gotten into professional ball. He was umpiring, and I was pitching exhibition games against Cincinnati, and Ted Kluszewski was up. And I just had thrown a curveball, and he hit about 9 miles all over the fence. And I had 3-2 on him, so I fired another in there, you know, and it must have been 4 inches off the corner of the plate. He struck him out, you know. And I walked off this is spring training now. I walked off the field. He says, "Us rebels got to stick together." Jamestown, some of y'all might remember. It was the first, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the first black umpire in the home league. Now he was a good umpire, but he made a bad call and he got rattled, right? He's a rookie. It's his first game. The guy had to be so nervous you couldn't believe it. Anyway, the Jamestown guys got on him. This is when I was playing ball here. They got on him real bad. And he didn't squash it right away. He let it get real bad. And he just stood there and hollered back at him, you know, and stuff. Well, the bat boy got in on it too, right? He stood at the dugout. When he called for the ball, he started rolling one at a time. Now this umpire, he's trying to step and catch these balls, and the crowd went crazy, right? Yeah, he ran the bat boy. I swear to God. Danny said he lives out on Baker Street, and he was the bat boy, and they ran him out of the game. He didn't realize what he was doing until the crowd started laughing how foolish he looked, you know. But he was, you know, he went on to be a good umpire, you know. But he just let it get out of hand. Boy, that was, of all the time I played ball, I never saw that. That was beautiful.
Even when you were kids?
No, I'll tell you the truth. We went to see Brooks get inducted in the Hall of Fame, and I didn't want to call and bother him. You know, I just wanted to go see it be inducted. So we went out, and all the fellows were at the Otis Hotel, where they stayed and had all the security and everything. Well, my wife got to look at it in the window, you know. Brooks spotted her, so he came out. And he says, hey, I got somebody I want you to see. You hadn't seen in a long time. So he took us in the hotel, you know, past the security stuff. And we get in there, and it was our high school coach. Yeah, and he was there. And he had him to lead into the induction, you know. Wow. And we got to talking, and Brooks' brother and some people were there. He got my wife over the corner. I didn't know he did this, you know. And she told me after what he said, well, I don't want to make you feel bad or anything. I'm not couldn't play ball. He wanted too bad, now he played. But said when they came out of high school, we figured John was a sure bet. Brooks, you know, might get signed. You know, that was the way it was, you know. And it was one of those deals where they went with the stopwatch, right? I was faster than Brooks. I threw harder, hit the ball further, you know. And there Brooks was. He couldn't run a lick, you know. He was, yeah, I'm telling you, you know, he just run too long in the same spot, you know. But he was, his hands. He was so quick with his hands. And that first step was so quick, and he worked like he could not believe. In the off season, in fact, he almost quit. He was at San Antonio, had a bad year. Me and Ernie Tabor were back. Brooks' father came and got us and said, Brooks is having trouble hitting the breaking pitch. You guys throw the breaking pitches. And I said, yeah, we'll go. So we got some other guys to shag balls. We went over and threw him curveballs dang near all winter. And he worked. I got so sick of throwing curveballs, he couldn't believe it, you know. And so he got to where he was getting the bat on the ball pretty good. Years later, he turned out to be a breaking ball hitter, you know. And next year in spring training, I faced him. He was with San Antonio, and I was with Little Rock. I faced him in exhibition, and I got ahead of him, 2 strikes. 2 fastballs, I got him in there, and I'm ahead of him. He looks out there at the mound and goes, like that. Don't He was on that curveball. No way he was getting that curveball.